PlayStation should just feel like this is the worst loss ever. Frankly,
this is Diana "Triggered" Ivanchenko, and she just lost a professional League of Legends game with 2 kills and 52 deaths. What she doesn't know is that her team, the all-female Vaevictis Esports, are about to lose 37 games in a row without a single win. So what led up to an all-female team being destroyed in an all-male league? And how did being the worst team in esports history actually save their team from bankruptcy? The story starts in 2018. Vaevictis Esports, a professional team competing in the most prestigious league in Russia, the LCL, are out of money. With a roster of expensive veteran players they can't afford, and the season starting in only 14 days, they have to do something drastic. Vaevictis decides to fire their entire team. But now they have another problem. They need 5 new players and they need them quick. Vaevictis decides to put Triana on the task. Triana had been Vaevictis manager for the past 2 years, and reaching the highest rank in League, Challenger, at only 19, she was a gaming prodigy. And she had a revolutionary idea for the team. Since they had nothing to lose, with Vaevictis almost going bankrupt, what if they drafted an all-female team with Triana in the forefront? The league Vaevictis was competing in, the LCL, only consisted of male players. But not because of any rule, simply because no women so far had been good enough to get drafted. So with nothing to lose, Triana called up Vaevictis CEO and pitched the idea of doing an all-female team in the all-male league for the first time in LCL history. And Vaevictis CEO said yes. Triana quickly scrambled to put together the best female league players Russia had to offer, including herself, and right on time, only 7 days before their first match, the all-female Vaevictis Esports was created. The roster change was announced on the official Vaevictis Twitter page and was met with outrage. Fans had just seen some of their favorite players be replaced with randoms. But Vaevictis' spirits were high. Nothing could stop them now. They were in the most prestigious league tournament Russia had to offer, and their first game was in only 6 days. But the truth is, all of this seemed simple. A bit too simple. Making such a controversial decision days before a match that would decide the future of an org was a massive risk. And not only that, but the roster consisted of 5 support mates, and 4 of them were in the rank Diamond. And if you don't know how league ranking works, putting a Diamond in pro play is kinda like telling a goldfish to solve your Rubik's Cube. So there was no chance this was gonna work, right? A curiosity was forming in the community. Could this be the team to prove everyone wrong? Over the following week, the upcoming game went from a minor bracket game with little public interest to a sensational, genre-defining match that everyone was tuning into. The debut match for Vaevictis Esports was set against Team Rocks on February 16th, and Vaevictis had sparked intrigue in the league community like no other team. Countless Reddit threads were created discussing the game in its upcoming days, and everyone held their breath as the game's kickoff was closing in. February 16th, Vaevictis Esports versus Rocks Gaming. The girls walk out on stage for their first professional game ever. They shake hands with their opponents, a team consisting of all veteran players, and sit down for the pick and banning phase. And as the ultimate form of bad manners, their opponents, Rocks, only banned support champions. It's unknown if this was a sexist play at them being a full team of females, or if it was a legitimate strategy as all of Vaevictis were support mains, but nonetheless, Riot penalized them for it. And by banning only supports, Rocks made a clear statement to Vaevictis: you can't win this, and we know it. And with the entire community watching, they locked in their characters and the game started. 2 minutes in, it becomes clear Vaevictis jungler is being heavily outplayed in every step of the way, burning Flash in a pointless skirmish. However, all other lanes stand strong. Only 4 minutes in, Vaevictis is down 1,000 gold. Gold is the single most important thing in winning a league game. And in an average esports game on a professional level, 1,000 gold deficit meant a 20% chance of winning. Hard, but not impossible. At 7 minutes, they were 3,000 gold behind. That meant a 3.5% chance of winning. Not impossible, but extraordinarily hard. 11 minutes in, Vaevictis goes for a kill on Rox's mid laner. It backfires and results in a kill for Rocks. Vaevictis is now at the 6,000 gold disadvantage. The odds of them winning are below 1%. Quickly, Rocks wrapped up the game with 2 aces and took home the victory. By the 21st minute, Vaevictis had lost 12-1, taking a grand total of 0 towers and suffered one of the most embarrassing defeats ever. But was this really a loss in the grand scheme of things? Sparks and stories started flying around about Vaevictis, not only in Russia but all over the world. And after all, it was just one defeat. With her popularity exceeding all expectations, everybody was excited to see how they would perform in their next match. Maybe it was just the nervousness of playing their first professional game ever that led to their defeat. On the 17th of February, only a day after their first game, they went on stage to play against Vega Squadron. Everybody was waiting to see how it would play out. 52-2. A loss so unusual that it set the entire league community on fire. In fact, even Riot Games had to warn Vega Squadron for drawing out the match. To put things into perspective, this is a score that would be difficult to achieve even if Vaevictis purposefully died to their enemies. Every Reddit page, league forum and fandom only had one word on their tongues: Vaevictis. Until now, no one had really known about the LCL outside of Russia, but for the first time, every league player was watching to see this team's next embarrassment, and they wouldn't be disappointed. But we gotta talk about Vaevictis, cause after their gut-wrenching 52-2 game, they could have never suspected what would happen next. After 7 losses in a row, they were up against Vega Squadron once again. The very same team that demolished Vaevictis with 52 kills and 2 deaths were now back, and they had another devious goal in sight. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the lengths of league matches, an average game of league lasts for about 30 minutes, or at least a minimum of 25, especially in pro games. However, the match between Vaevictis and Vega ended in 13 minutes. And let me put it like this, League doesn't even allow you to surrender until 15 minutes. This was unheard of, especially at a championship level. And yet again, everyone was talking about Vaevictis. Worst of all, even though they were 3 weeks into the tournament, they still weren't able to take out a single enemy tower. And in fact, had only taken 2 dragons up until this match with Vega Squadron. Public pressure grew, the mockery intensified, and Vaevictis' performance worsened. And worst of all, after every game, their PR team would post a Twitter post announcing their loss, furthering what seemed like mockery from their own team. Everything was at stake with the last 6 games to go. If they lost a single one, they would go down as the biggest disaster in esports history. But there was still a chance that Vaevictis could save its imploding reputation, right? The next 6 games, Vaevictis proved to be more consistently worse than they had ever been. Loss after loss after loss, until there was nothing left to lose. LCL Spring 2019, their first professional tournament ever, had finally concluded, and Vaevictis sat at the bottom. 14 losses and 0 wins. And if you thought that was the end of it, you're unfortunately wrong, because they still had 24 losses left to endure. That's right, Vaevictis had even more scandals up their sleeve. The practicing for the next tournament had begun, and Vaevictis were dedicated to win this one. On the outside, Vaevictis was nonchalant and okay with losing their first tournament, but on the inside, public pressure caught up, and their castle of glass was about to shatter. The team began suffering from internal issues, and the lack of pro experience became a massive detriment to progress. All of these girls were young and couldn't navigate conflicts. This led to one of the players, Triggered, receiving a 2-game suspension because of comments she made about a teammate. And to add insult to injury, every single one of these internal incidents were public knowledge. Vaevictis was stuck in a cycle that seemed to blow every mistake out of proportion. Stuck in a cycle so negative that it was eating the team from the inside. Finally, the worst that could have happened happened. Players began leaving, and Vaevictis was left more unstable than it had ever been. Added onto this was the difficulty of finding new players, as Triana mentions.
So we're talking to all these girls, and okay, one girl doesn't want to move because she's scared of Russians. She's scared of Russia.
However, there was one silver lining in all of this. Vaevictis was going through a mental reformation in preparation of their next tournament.
We were really trying to be serious going into the summer split. We started plus minus the same as the spring split, but we really tried.
Finally, this meant that the team was heading in the right direction. There was a clear reform in how serious the roster was towards their job. Sharper focus, better team synergy, and more time to practice meant that even with the minimum amount of effort, they would still be able to outperform what they had done in the last tournament. And in their second tournament ever, the one they had practiced for ever since their first disaster, they went 14 losses and 0 wins. Vaevictis were back exactly where they had started. The reformation, effort, hell, even the publicity, none of it mattered anymore. And Riot Games Russia decided it was done giving second chances. The very next year, in February of 2020, Vaevictis Esports was officially disqualified from the spring split due to an unacceptable level of competitiveness. The only statement given by Riot Games was a cold, hard slap to the face. The organization Vaevictis will be able to participate in the Open Cup and has a chance to return to the LCL next year. For the most part, the weight of Vaevictis' failures were burdened by Triana alone. And looking at what happened to the team, it would be pretty logical to say that it was her fault. I mean, these players were diamond, drafting any diamonds, no matter their gender, and putting them on this level of professional play would be a disaster. And looking at the facts, Triana was the one pushing for it. But maybe Triana was smarter than everybody thought. Maybe, just maybe, she was the hero of this story. Okay, I know this sounds ridiculous, but there is actually a point to this. Okay, so hear me out. Okay, hear me out. Triana was the team manager above all. Above being a captain, above winning any games, the organization in its entirety mattered more to her than any female roster ever could. Ever since Vaevictis had been created, it remained one of the most mediocre teams to perform in the LCL, even before any females were brought on. Horrible placements, subpar levels of skill, and getting crushed by other teams were always synonymous with Vaevictis. And as expected, this performance was killing the organization. Already playing in the dying league LCL, where viewership was plummeting, and being one of the worst performers, the fate of Vaevictis was certain. Bankruptcy and disbandment. But because of what Triana did, hiring the all-female team, she was able to save Vaevictis. Actually, save would be an understatement. For the first time, a Russian team was being talked about all over the globe, and people were loving it. This was something no team had ever done. Especially not one that was at the bottom of the leaderboards. And at the bottom of the leaderboards, Vaevictis stayed. Every tournament, every game, Vaevictis would get destroyed, but for a much greater purpose. Almost like a sacrifice, Triana and her team losing so hard drew in much needed viewers to a dying org in a dying league. In a way, sacrificing her legacy for everybody else.